Bill, remember this whole situation with Colin Powell endorsing President Obama, and then we heard from John Sununu that, well, listen, it's because they're black. That's really why they endorsed each other. This was the video of John Sununu making that endorsement, or making that claim, just last week or the week before.
Colin Powell has decided to opt for President Obama again, despite apparently still being a Republican. Is it time he left the party, do you think?
Well, I'm not sure how important that is. I do like the fact that Colin Powell's boss, George Herbert Walker Bush, has endorsed Mitt Romney all along. And frankly, when you take a look at Colin Powell, you have to wonder whether that's an endorsement based on issues or whether he's got a slightly different reason for preferring President Obama.
What reason would that be?
Well, I think when you have somebody of your own race that you're proud of being president of the United States, I applaud Colin for standing with him.
There you go. Okay, so that was the initial thing from John Sununu, which we criticized last week. Well, now Bill O'Reilly decided to do like a meta-analysis of that analysis from John Sununu, and he brought in a panel, or he brought in a guest to analyze that analysis together. Make sense, Lewis?
I think I follow, yeah.
And then Bill O'Reilly kind of says the same thing. He says, well, you know what? I think Colin Powell did cut President Obama a little more slack because they're both black, basically feeding the exact same notion. Listen to this exchange from the O'Reilly factor.
General Powell has been, in his books, quite candid about him using affirmative action to succeed, all right? And Barack Obama did use affirmative action to, you know, be educated and something like that. Do you think that there's any racial business here?
No. I'm not saying that. Obama used affirmative action to be educated and something like that. Okay, we're starting with a little bit of a shaky premise here, but I'm game. Let's continue.
A pejorative. No. I'm not saying that in a negative, but a connection.
No.
The general and the president came up the same way.
No. Because does that mean that if Mike Huckabee supports you, is there racism? Absolutely not.
I didn't say racism. I said racial connection because it's an identifiable path.
I understand what you're trying to say there, Bill, but I think it's disrespectful. I think it's disrespectful to General Powell. It's disrespectful to the president. You cannot take, especially, can't take such a pedigree and try to dilute it to pigmentation and not all the competence of the president.
You don't think shared experience enters into General Powell's
You're telling me that if President Obama had not done a good job, that Colin Powell, General Powell, would have supported President Obama regardless? Absolutely not true.
No, I'm saying that he might be cutting him a little more slack.
I disagree.
There you go. Listen.
Shared experience? What shared experience is he talking about? They have led such completely different lives.
What have they shared? In other words, when it's really an allusion back to race, right? Because really the only similarity between Colin Powell and President Obama is being black, because there is, what shared experience have they had? And unless Bill O'Reilly wants to say, well, they both benefited from affirmative action. Therefore, because they have the same skin color, it's such a simplistic and almost immature way of thinking about these things, particularly when I thought Republicans respected Colin Powell after he went out and kind of made a fool of himself and the country by following George W. Bush's advice to make that horrible case about the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. I still thought Republicans respected him. No, that doesn't make them lose respect for Colin Powell. It's supporting President Obama that makes them lose respect. Incredible.
And it's saying it's just because he's black. It's easy because he doesn't want to talk about the real reasons why Colin Powell is endorsing Obama.
The fact that lifelong Republicans are endorsing President Obama is not really a nice thing to talk about for right-wingers. So they'll say, it's the black thing. That's what it is. Let's distract people. Let's take a break. Facebook.com/David Pakman Show. The path to 10,000 likes continues. We are closing in, Lewis. It is fantastic stuff.
Slow and steady.
Facebook.com/David Pakman Show. Stay tuned. Quick break. Back after this.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.